Zumbi dos Palmares. Zumbi of Palmares was one of the leaders of the Palmares Quilombo and became known for leading the Quilombo's resistance against Portuguese attacks in the 17th century. Zumbi of Palmares was one of the leaders of the largest Quilombo ever to exist in Brazil, the Palmares Quilombo. Today, Zumbi is seen by many as a symbol of resistance and the fight of Africans against their enslavement in the context of colonial Brazil. He was killed on November 20th, 1695, after his hiding place was betrayed. Quilombo Palmares. Zumbi was one of the 3 known leaders of the Palmares Quilombo, the largest Quilombo in Brazilian history, with the first recorded mention dating back to 1597. Speculations suggest an even earlier existence. Palmares was the collective name given to the settlements comprising it. Among these settlements were Acotarine, Andalaquituch, and Aqualtune, with the primary one being Cerca Real do Macaco, also known as the Macaco Mocambo. Serving as the political center, it housed up to 6,000 inhabitants. The overall complex of Palmares was estimated to have 20,000 inhabitants. Cerca Real do Macaco was fortified with a palisade and traps for security. Roads connected all settlements to Cerca Real do Macaco, extending to the region of Serra da Barriga, where the Palmares Quilombo was situated. At that time, this region was linked to the captaincy of Pernambuco. Palmares had to confront expeditions organized by the Portuguese and Dutch aiming to destroy the Quilombo. During the Dutch invasion, Palmares prospered, but after the Dutch were expelled, Portuguese expeditions became more frequent, culminating in its annihilation. The destruction of Palmares transpired with the expedition led by Domingos Jorge Velho, a hired adventurer. His troops, numbering in the thousands, estimated up to 9,000 men, were equipped with cannons. After intense fighting, Cerca Real do Macaco was razed in 1694, compelling survivors to flee. Life of Zumbi dos Palmares. Little is known about Zumbi's life, prompting historical research to unveil information about this significant Brazilian figure. Gaps in Zumbi's personal life, particularly his childhood, are notable. The sole existing account, provided by journalist Decio Freitas, suggests that Zumbi, born free in Palmares, was captured around 7 years old and enslaved to a priest named Antonio Melo. As a slave, he was named Francisco, learned Portuguese and Latin, and at 15, escaped to become a vital military commander in Palmares. This classic version of Zumbi's childhood is questioned by historians due to the lack of evidence beyond Decio Freitas's account. Uncertainty also shrouds Zumbi's marital and parental status, although a letter from Portuguese King Dom Pedro II to Zumbi suggests a family. In this letter, Dom Pedro II offers forgiveness to Zumbi for his actions against Portuguese colonists, provided that Zumbi accepts to be his subject. The king extends an invitation. I, king, make it known to you, Captain Zumbi of Palmares, that I am willing to forgive you for all the excesses you have committed. I invite you to reside in any place that suits you, with your wife and your children and all your captains, free from any captivity or subjection, as my faithful subjects, under my royal protection, of which my governor, who is going to the government of that captaincy, is aware and must fulfill and observe. In any case, we know that Zumbi was indeed born in the Palmares Quilombo in 1655, and many say that he would have been the nephew of Ganga Zumba, another important leader of Palmares. Despite this, some historians point out that Zumbi's designation as the nephew of Ganga Zumba may have been just symbolic, to indicate that the former was protected by the latter. We also know that Zumbi was a general of the Quilombo Palmares, and Portuguese reports highlight his role in the resistance of the Palmares residents. It is these reports that helped build the image of Zumbi as a great leader. It is also known that the name Zumbi may derive from Zumbi, an African term meaning ghost. One of the great controversies of Zumbi's life lies in his role as a general, the disagreement with Ganga Zumba. In 1678, Ganga Zumba was the leader of Palmares, and amid decades of struggles, he received a peace offer from colonial authorities. In this proposal, the governor of the Captaincy granted freedom to those born in Palmares, but all who had fled should return to their owners. If the Palmarin leader accepted the offer, those born in Palmares could live their freedom in Curuá as subjects of the Portuguese crown. Ganga Zumba is said to have accepted this offer and agreed to move, but Zumbi, outraged, would have argued that freedom should be a conquest for all. Thus, it is believed that Zumbi, or one of his allies, may have murdered Ganga Zumba, and it is speculated that this happened through poisoning. After Ganga Zumba's death, a conflict with Gana Zona, Zumbi's brother, ensued, and Zumbi declared himself the leader of Palmares. He led the Palmarin resistance in the following years until the final capitulation of the Quilombo, when the troops of Domingos Jorge Velho attacked and destroyed Cerca Real do Macaco. Death of Zumbi dos Palmares. After the devastation of Cerca Real do Macaco, Zumbi fled. For a long time, it was believed that he had committed suicide during this attack, but studies conducted in recent decades have proven that he escaped. In this sense, Zumbi lived for about a year and a half hidden in the forest, surviving small attacks carried out by him and his fellow survivors. In 1695, his hiding place was betrayed by one of his companions, named Antonio Suarez, who was captured and tortured. Zumbi was then ambushed and killed. His hand was cut off, and his head was severed, salted, and taken to Recife, where it was displayed in a public square. Zumbi's death occurred on November 20th, 1695, and in the 20th century, Zumbi became a major symbol of resistance in certain political groups. This appropriation of his history led to the day of his death being converted into the Day of Black Consciousness.